Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So this is my ridiculously overstocked, super colorful, action-packed community 10-gallon aquarium. This is what was my Mutt guppy tank and what will be a Mutt guppy tank 2.0. But right now it is serving as a holding tank for all the new fish that I got over the past 3 weeks or so, spread out 6 different fish hauls from my local fish store, various PetSmarts, multiple Petcos. So I put them all in here so that I can treat them with medications all together. So ordinarily, quarantine tanks are intended to be a separate tank where you would treat fish before introducing them to new fish. So you wouldn't, anything that they might have, you wouldn't contaminate others, but if they're going to eventually be together and they're going to be treated, why not just treat them all together? And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I've been doing the last, well, pretty much since my last quarantine tank became a permanent tank, and that's what has happened again. My last 10-gallon aquarium, ended up like a super ridiculously crowded with lots of variety and colorful fish like this, my other 10-gallon tank. But now that's what's happening here. So I'm going to ramble on about the medications. Put some food in here so you can check out the fish. So we got these are spirulina veggie tablets. Stick on the glass there. It's cool to see the fish pick at it while they're sticking on the glass. I also put in some rapashi food here, spread out chunks there. And so what I was going to do is a last good meal before I start with medications, because I'm going to skip feeding for multiple days. So I wanted to feed them good before doing that. I've said that a couple times as I was doing these fish hauls, but then ended up being 6, and kind of thought maybe the 4th or the 5th would be the last, and I would say that, but then it would be one more. So, but yeah, this is the final one. I'm going to start with the medications tomorrow. And check that out right there. It's one of the new ram's horn snails I just got from a seller on eBay. My previous video was the unboxing video. That was the second shipment that I received. The first one, unfortunately, they were dead upon arrival, and this time they all came alive. And that's one of the bigger ones. Yeah, so what I have here is API General Cure, API Erythromycin, Fritz Mardel Maracyn, and Icex. So I'm going to kind of talk about what I'm going to do and what these will treat, as much as I know, which isn't much, but what I think I know, or try to be convincing, as much as I can, pretend that I know what I'm talking about. But so General Cure, this is for the most part a dewormer, treats parasitic fish disease. Erythromycin treats bacterial disease, and Fritz Mardel Maracyn, this is essentially erythromycin, so it's just a different brand. This is, if you don't know Aquarium Co-op, these are the Aquarium Co-op recommended medication trio, this being considered the same. This is what is recommended now, replacing this. Just these come in 24, where this is 10, so this is just for better value. And then Icex. So actually now I've I believe there is a replacement for General Cure. I think another Fritz product, Paracleanse, if I recall. But I have 2 more packets left in here, so I'm going to use these before I buy whatever the replacement Paracleanse is, I believe. And this does expire November 2020, and it is now January 2021. I'm going to use it anyway. 2 months later, I don't think it'll be that bad. So this is supposed to treat gill and skin flukes, hole and head disease, wasting disease, swollen abdomen. Pretty much, I believe, from wasting disease, like these are the ones that would really be the main concern because of internal worms, because this is intended to be a dewormer. And then erythromycin treats bacterial fish disease, fin and tail rot, gill disease, mouth fungus, open red sores, and Maracyn pretty much is in line with this, so it has fin and tail rot, gill disease, bacterial gill disease, Popeye, not among those, columnaris, body fungus, not really any of those, but essentially this is erythromycin. I think it says active ingredient, each packet contains 20 milligrams erythromycin activity. So, and then there's ICX. Well, this treats ick. Also, velvet gold dust disease. I don't really know what that is. I've heard of it, but I don't think I've experienced it. And whatever those other things are. And so, the way I'm going to do this is more in line or almost in line with full dosage, and to try to do them all together. Aquarium Co-op, they recommend as a quarantine medication, just one dose of each all together in one shot, and that be enough. Where I have a lot more fish from various sources, doing them all together, I'm gonna be a little more, go beyond that and do towards full dosages. I have previously done just the one all together, and for the most part came out okay. When I first got back to the aquarium hobby about 3.5 years ago, my first quarantine fish I did full dosages of. At that time, I was using Cordon Preventative instead of ICX, and I got ick. And then that's when after I got ick, was when I got this to actually cure the ick, not as preventative, but I do use it as preventative. But, all right, so according to this, for best results, remove activated carbon or filter cartridge from filter in continue aeration. I don't have activated carbon in this tank or any of my tanks, so that's not going to matter. For each 10 gallons of water, empty 1 packet directly into aquarium. Repeat dose after 48 hours. Wait another 48 hours and change 25% of the water. Add the carbon again, which I'm not going to do. But so I do have 2 packets left. So that is all I would need there to do 1 packet, and then 40 hours later another packet before doing a 25% water change. So then, erythromycin, for each 10 gallons, empty 1 packet into the aquarium, repeat dose after 24 hours, wait another 24 hours and change 25% of the water. Repeat this treatment for a second time around for a total of 4 doses. So, with this, I only have 2 packets here, so I can't do 4. But I'm going to do the first 2 and then move on to Maracyn, which is supposed to be the same erythromycin. And this one says 5 doses. So, not You know, if it's the same, it's inconsistent there, but I'm going to do basically half with this and the other half, or 60% then of that. But where this is suggesting 25% water changes after 24 hours. So combining one packet into aquarium, repeat after 24 hours, wait another 24 hours, and change 25% of the water. So that means if I'm going to be doing a 25% water change and trying to line these up, I'm first going to add 1 dose of this, and then that would be after 24 hours. I'm sorry, after 48 hours, I'll add another packet along with that. That's when I can begin the erythromycin, the first dose of erythromycin, then 24 hours, the second dose. And then after that 24 hours, I can do a 25% water change, which would then be after the 48-hour water change, if that lines up. Does that make sense? All right. Then, after that 25% water change is when I will be done with general cure with that full dosage, 2 packets. Then I'll move on to this Maracyn, which is, according to these directions, no water changes, pH or temperature adjustments necessary if readings are in ideal range. Temperature 68 to 86. All right, that's where we are. This is about 74. I do have, this is one of my tanks that does have a heater, but it is on kind of low. Some in the summer they go up to about 78, but in the winter, the tanks with heaters like this one would be like 74. My other tanks don't have heaters. I just keep the room temperature. The temperature in my apartment is 72. Anyway, didn't need to get too into that. Freshwater pH 6.4 to 7.6. That's where this is off over the charts there. The pH out of my tap is like 8. So this is probably around 7.8, because it does drop a little bit just from, you know, for one thing, having driftwood in here that will degrade, and plants. These are the plants I got on eBay, by the way, so they're in here for the time being until I move them to other tanks. So I have I did have some Java moss that was rotting, so drops the pH a little bit, but still, what that would still be above this, but that's okay. We're still going to go with it, and yeah. So add the contents of 1 packet per 10 gallons of water and repeat each step 24 hours for 5 days. So that's if it was just going to be this alone, that would be 5 days every 24 hours. But we've already, once we begin this, we've already done 2 24 hours each of these. So we're going to pick up where that left off and do the last 3 of these. Okay. And then how to include the ICX into the equation, according to this, for best results, right here, always treat in a separate quarantine treatment tank. Well, that's not happening. We're doing them all together in this tank. Remove activated carbon. Okay, that's fine. We already don't have that anyway. 3, make at least a 3rd water change before each addition of ICX. So if we're going to do multiple doses, along with, you know, we're already doing after 48 hours, 1 packet, then 48 hours, another packet, then 48 hours, 25% water change, along with the erythromycin in there, and then this one, no water changes. So once we're at the end of this is when we will add the ICX then, to try to be consistent with all that. I may or may not do the whole 4 doses of this because, you know, part of it too is just observation, and it would be whether this is the one that says if needed. This might be after 5 doses, somewhere in there. Out of focus. Repeat this dose 5 times only once if needed, and then treat for 5 days if visible signs. Treat for 5 days even if visible signs disappear. Okay, well, if needed, another 5 doses. I don't think I will need to do that. This one says maybe used concurrently with all these other medications. ICX, however, says somewhere in here, do not use ICX with any other medications. Aquarium Co-op will do that with them all, so, and he knows everything, so that's what we're gonna do. It'll be towards the end of that anyway. So yeah. Probably when I'm done on the 5th and last one of these is when I will dose the first of this. So then within up to at least 24 hours, so then, you know, pretty much a day later, I'll do a 1/3 of a water change, do another dose. I may or may not do any more beyond that. So it's been over 3 weeks, the first haul of fish that I got in here, and the most recent would have been a couple days ago, I think, 3 days ago, whenever it was, Saturday. And so there could be some diseases or whatever, or something contaminated. One thing, before I started adding fish in here, the original fish, like this is the one, you know, this marigold varieties platy born in my 30-gallon planted library community tank. I am kind of noticing the edges of its fins, and this is one that was born in this tank. Is a little bit like its fins are bottom edge of its fin there, so that could be some fin and tail rot happening. So maybe they're susceptible, like the other fish that came in here brought it along and they're okay with it, but then they are newly exposed to it. And also, the last 2 guppies that I had are gone. They have disappeared. I know probably about 6 guppies from the new guppies that I got over the 6 fish hauls died, and those 2 among them, because I haven't seen them. I mean, some of the fish may have gotten eaten by shrimp and snails and other fish, I guess. But the ones that I found that were dead, I took out. But out of all these fish, most of them are looking pretty healthy. So, yeah. All right. So they got their last meal. I'm gonna give them some frozen bloodworms too, and put some of this in there. Cobalt smartemia, a smart baby brine shrimp alternative. Prebiotics and probiotics. I've noticed that my fish, since I've been using this, my fish have been healthier. Yeah, so that one last meal they're going to get, and then they plan to use these preventative quarantine medications will begin. And then once I'm done with all that, then we can move the fish to the other tanks that they're supposed to go in, where most of the guppies are going to stay behind for the purpose of making this Mutt Guppy Tank 2.0. Alright, so yeah, that is how I treat my fish for quarantining. You know, I figure that's not what most people do, just putting them all together like this. Like, for the most part, people would use a separate quarantine tank, but yeah, that's how I do it. How do you do it? Is it anything like this? Would you feel safe doing it this way? Good for your fish? Let me know what you do if it's different. Alright, and that's it for now. And remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishies. Thanks for watching.